Start the meeting. Let's see. Roll call, Lisa?
Lori Greenlee-Karp,
Here.
Lloyd Gratian,
Here.
Larry Amston, not here yet. Heather Haas is absent. She's still not feeling well from COVID. Ingrid Kohler is attending by Zoom, and she did say congratulations on your grandson.
Thanks, Ingrid.
Sue Springborn.
Here.
Nancy Thorson. Sarah Zarodka.
Here.
Arthur Alvarez.
Here.
And Tim Cole.
Yep.
Okay, we got a quorum. Yay. Motion to adopt the agenda.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Sarah makes a motion,
I
second. Laura seconds, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion to approve the minutes of July 28th.
I so move.
Nancy moves, second.
I second.
Who? Laura? Laura. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Anybody from the public like to speak at this time? Okay.
I don't know who's going. I'm not on the agenda, so.
That's
Oh,
fine.
you're the opener. Just state your name, please, for the record.
Yep. Jim Selishow, resident at 2590 Diane Street, North St. Paul, of course. And I'm just here to talk and bring you up to date on the Casey Lake Renewal Project, which is what I'm calling it. And I was just as an opener, I'd just like to say, most of you have been and looked at the North St. Paul website and seen that beautiful, pristine view of Casey Lake. It's all blue, and it's just beautiful. Well, if you look at it tonight, I don't know, Tim, if you had a chance to go by there or not, it's 60 or 70% green. And it's not getting any better, and it's not just duckweed, it's an algae bloom of some type. So what I'm here to tell you about is just to bring you up, we had a Zoom meeting on September 1st, and we had that with the DNR and the watershed. And they talked about a variety of topics. But one of the things, and then there was quite a few people present at the meeting, two people that actually had property that do have shoreline on the lake. And they were concerned about weeds, lily pads, access to the lake for recreational purposes, things like that. And what we were told at the time was that that they would come out and have a meeting at the lake to discuss the issues with the residents. This was sent by Rob Dodd from the DNR on September 7th. We'll be contacting individual lake shore residents in regards to cattail permit applications in the next week. The exact date of the site will depend on how those interactions go. I won't bore you with the rest of that, except for I did send him a reminder the other day as to when were those meetings going to take place. And this is the response I got. It says, good morning. Multiple complications caused by the global pandemic are preventing me from scheduling the meeting. In the meantime, please let me know what aquatic plant management questions your committee has. If any of your neighbors who own shoreline on Casey Lake would like to apply for a grant, blah, 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 and contact the DNR, et cetera, et cetera. So for whatever reason, they're not coming out. I think it's kind of a bogus thing to blame it on the pandemic, if you want the truth. My opinion is that both the DNR and the watershed, those people that specialize in aquatic weed control, that's their main focus in life is weed control. And anything else they don't want to deal with. Because in my opinion, and what's become pretty evident is, there's more than a weed control issue with Casey Lake. That's one issue. The other issue is that the fish, they tell us about fishing there. Nobody can fish. There's too many weeds. It's green all the time. The water level isn't high enough, so the people that want to cut the weeds, by the way, the weeds were harvested about 2 weeks ago, and it made a slight impact, but not a lot. And so we're pretty much back to where we started after the weed cutting took place. So I just wanted to bring to your mind, if any of you, I walk on occasion, probably once a week, out at Oakdale Park. regional park out there off of Hadley, and there's a lake there called Mud Lake, strangely enough, but it's not a whole lot shallower than Casey Lake, probably about 2 feet. It's 100% lily pads now, 100%. And that's pretty much the way we're headed with Casey Lake. So I guess what I'm promoting is, and I want the committee support in doing, is to make a recommendation, and we're gonna have the support from the city council, probably our congressman, to have a study done on Casey Lake to find out how we can enhance it. There's been a lot of sediment that's come in, the cattails. I don't think the weed cutter can actually take the lily pads out. There might be some kind of a law there that says it can't take lily pads, I don't know, but they weren't cut at last time. So I'd like to see a study, and I think we all want to see a study done as to, what's the best way to go about this. Should some of the sediment be removed? Should the lake level be raised? By the way, at one time, it was a foot higher than it is right now. For some reason back early in the 2000s, it was decided to drop it a foot. Now, what that does is, though, and I won't carry on much longer, but what that does is, it makes, first of all, the weed harvester can't get in and out. That's one pretty practical thing. But it also doesn't make it very drought resistant. As soon as we had this minor drought, because next to the shoreline, you're only talking a depth of about maybe a foot, foot and a half. So as soon as you have a little bit of a drought, I have photos showing that the shoreline goes out at least 12, 15 feet. In other words, all muck is there. So now the recent rains, yes, have brought the lake level back up where they originally intended to be. But anyway, just to sum up, I'd like the committee to take, to make a recommendation that study be done to find out how to make Casey Lake, enhance Casey Lake to make it the jewel in our crown like it's purported to be for our city. And it's not there now, so I think that's about it. Any questions?
I was unable to watch that Zoom meeting.
Zoom meeting, yeah.
Did they give any explanation for all the algae? It's not from phosphates running into the lake and causing, it's not from lawns and all that kind of thing?
They, as I recall, maybe somebody else saw the Zoom meeting, I don't remember if they gave a reason for that or not.
Because isn't that normally the reason for
Phosphates?
Yeah, and people over fertilizing their lawns and allowing it to run into them.
That's true.
Yeah, so where's the problem coming from then?
Well, things, I'm not, that's pretty not my bailiwick, I would just say that over time that the nutrients in there, because they claim that when they do the harvesting, it takes the phosphates out. They come out because they're part of the weed. And I suggested that if we got the water level a little bit deeper, they could maybe harvest it more frequently, because right now it's done like twice a year, and they grow back very quickly. And I was told that if they did it more frequently, that it would screw up the ecology of the lake. That was the answer I got.
I guess I'm wondering if they did something to get rid of the algae, but people continue to use high-level phosphates, you're not going to solve the problem, are you?
See, it's been a law now for some time that you cannot buy fertilizer except for a starter fertilizer with phosphates in it. If you go to the Home Depot or Menards, wherever, you look at the bag, there are no phosphates. So I don't know how much is really getting run off from that any longer. It shouldn't be, you wouldn't think it'd be much because they haven't sold fertilizer with phosphates in now for years.
And the rest of, I don't know much about this, but other fertilizers don't cause that problem. There's just...
No, not the nitrogen and the potash.
Okay.
This is a statewide issue with the majority of lakes due to climate change and the warming of temperatures. We just also experienced a significant drought throughout a large majority of the United States. So I can't, in good faith, make a recommendation to put more water in a lake when we are all experiencing a significant drought.
It's my understanding, and I don't want to speak out of line with not having full knowledge of this, but it was my understanding, I thought Carrie had said that legally, and I'm not sure if it was under federal or state regulations, but the water level cannot be adjusted.
The water level is set by the state. And then my question was what, at the appropriate level, and my question is what is the appropriate level, because it's lower than it used to be.
If you looked at the big rundown of the city's last newsletter, they actually state in there that it was 1 foot higher. Up, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, I don't know, it wasn't that long ago.
So can I ask, with the study that you want to recommend, is who, if this commission then it recommends it to go to the council, what, who would then run the study? Because if the DNR and watershed seem resistant, is it because we're not paying them to look at this and we're just asking them to do this for free, or is their opinion going to change? I guess I'm just trying to understand who would do the study in this case.
It would have to be, in my opinion, it would have to be a combination of the watershed and the DNR and the hydrologist, because that was one of the people that they recommended, was Skolin, was it? Was a hydrologist. So this has not been looked at in depth at all. The only two people we've talked to so far are primarily concerned with aquatic vegetation.
Okay.
That's their thing.
So Tim, are you thinking like if the city goes to them to ask about this, it would be different versus the trying to have like hold forums and things that they don't seem to be very proactive about attending, or?
So the first thing I encourage is everyone in the room to watch the video. It's saved out on our website.
Oh, it is. Oh.
You can probably hear in the tone of my voice towards the end of the meeting that I got very frustrated.
So this was part of a city council meeting?
No.
No.
This was a separate
This
water.
was
This is
Watershed.
separate watershed. Okay, this is the watershed meeting. Okay.
Yeah, it was August 1st at 9 a.m. September 1st, 9 a.m. And the Watershed District made a very nice presentation. They took us back to 2010 as to what the water quality was like and brought us forward 11 years.
Okay.
And in what they have done, I'm being careful because this is recorded how I choose my words. What they have done is improved the quality of the lake water. And they've showed charts and graphs that represented the improvement of the clarity of the water today for where it was 11 years ago.
Tim, may I interject one thing on
Yeah.
that? The way they did that was, it was determined that there was an abundance of carp at Casey Lake, and they went and lowered the level of the lake and scooped them all out and killed them.
And then froze them out.
And then, was that what it was, Tim, froze them out too?
That's what my notes were anyway.
Okay, well, good enough. So anyway, so that's how, and because the carp, they go on the bottom, they root for all the weeds and stuff, and by doing that, of course, there was no aquatic vegetation in the lake, because the carp were keeping it down. And this was not a surprise, they knew that was gonna, that would be the result of taking the carp out, was once the carp came out, then the weeds grew back, which they feel is a good thing. Anyway, I'm sorry, I interrupted it.
And really what it came down to, and I believe this was their words, not mine, is there is a balance that needs to be struck between the lake quality and the lake appearance.
Okay.
And
Makes sense.
during their presentation, I said that they had done a wonderful job explaining the lake quality. What we were here to discuss was how the aesthetics of the lake. And they did their job.
Got it.
They improved the quality of the water. So then that's kind of where I got frustrated and asked a couple of questions. But, and Jim, you're right, to that point, they were to have had a meeting within 2 weeks with, I believe, a hydrologist and Ron Dodd to walk the lake, and that didn't happen. The only other comment that I've heard back, and I heard it from Carrie, was that referencing cattails and permits to cut cattails. They said that the homeowners may be surprised that the cattails that they want to remove are not theirs. I don't know what that meant.
I don't think
I
they
didn't follow
were
up.
endemic. I almost got it that they were not Minnesota native cattails, and if they were taken out, maybe they were put in the right ones or something.
Mhm.
There was some kind of a strange conversation about that.
So where do you feel comfortable, like, Tim, from your opinion, attending that, like, where do you go from here that helps bridge towards a solution?
I would probably, my recommendations, bring it to a workshop.
Okay.
Do a council workshop, first and third Tuesdays of the month at 6 o'clock here.
Because do you actually need a park board recommendation? Because we can't control, like, we know as a group, we can't dictate the water, because that does not
Right.
apply us.
No.
Well, there's gonna be things that are gonna need to be done before we can approve anything.
Yeah,
Because I'm also working with the Silver Lake Improvement Association, and their studies that they're asking for are right around $13,000.
got it.
So
Someone's got to pay
So
for it.
you
But
need us to
that's
pay
a-
for it.
somebody's
That's why
gonna
we're
have,
here.
somebody's gonna have to pay for it. And the study they're looking to do is they want to do a sampling, just to see how much sediment there is and what's in the sediment. Because they have a lot of problems from when construction was done and all the roads were done over there and the heavy rains that happened and drainage.
Yeah.
And some of their culverts that they've showed me pictures of are half full of mud.
So before we do anything here, it needs to go to council. So we can't do anything about it today, is what I'm hearing.
My guidance is I bring it forward to a workshop.
So get it on the workshop agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we could,
Isn't the watershed, they're still gonna work with us, but they can't because of COVID, am I understanding that correctly?
I
mean,
thought it was the DNR.
Or it was the DNR.
Rob, he's with the DNR.
He's
the one that
Rob
wrote the
Dowd is
note-
Minnesota
He's
DNR.
the one
Okay.
that wrote the note to me about the pandemic issue.
Sure,
Yeah.
and to be honest, I think that's understandable because there are a number of cases, and maybe Rob has COVID, maybe one of his coworkers, I mean, I wouldn't discount that at this point. I think we could, keep on top of that and still have that meeting with Rob as he proposed. But yes, definitely,
and I think in regards to the money, when we get to that point, I think the only thing I would say, just in preemptiveness of that, is that I think as a park board, we need to have our park plan approved before we start giving money to other things, because I don't see why it would be fair for the council to approve us spending money to treat a lake when we can't even spend any of our $400,000 to fix our parks.
Yes.
I agree.
So, to put pressure on the city and, that's the only thing I would say in that regards, is I'm not opposed to understanding that because it's an asset to our city. I just also feel like before we start spending money, we need to get our ducks in a row.
Let me ask though, I did not really envision the city paying for this. Can't we somehow get the DNR or the watershed to pay for it? Can we get the state or the county to pay for it? Why should the city be stuck with that? Is there a chance we could do something like that?
I mean, it never hurts to ask. The only thing that I heard from the watershed district, is they've done everything they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
That might not be fair to paraphrase it that way, but that's what I heard when I left the
I
call.
won't disagree with that.
We also have support from, and thank you, Jim, for reaching out, from Senator Uyghur and from Representative Lilly. Chuck actually wanted to walk with the DNR
Yes, he did.
when they were out.
That'd be great. I mean,
Um,
could you package, I mean, you guys are already going down the path of Silver Lake, like, I would just maybe as a recommendation, as you guys take this to workshops, is I know Silver Lake's a bigger, and you're sharing it with Maplewood, but would there be a way to like bundle that? So like, hey, we have 2 lakes, we really want them studied at the same time, like, or something of that nature, versus, because it's gonna create more work for everybody if we treat these things too, like, where we just say, hey, here's our lakes in the city, can we take a look at that? Like, that would be the only thought.
Yep. And the only other thing, Jim, that I have on here, Silver Lake identified some growth, vegetation, as purple loosestripe, loose stripe,
Sorry.
and I have no idea what that looks like, but could that be what's currently growing? Because they were concerned, they wanted to get out and get it sprayed at Silver Lake now, because it was just starting to bloom. I don't know what it looks like.
All I know is I went over tonight, I know duckweed because that was one of the issues. They said there was duckweed that was making the lake green, and I've had aquariums for about 60-some years. I know duckweed. And it wasn't duckweed on the surface. It was, I got up very close. It was a granular, I would say, it could be seeds, but no more than a 1/16 of an inch in diameter. And there was like billions of them, and that's why the lake is about, 60-70% green.
This
Right?
is
It could
purple
be some kind of a
display.
bloom.
Oh, it actually looks pretty. I mean,
Yeah.
not,
It's an invasive species.
right, it is an invasive species because they, so the Silver Lake Improvement Association was going to spray all their areas, and they needed a permit or permission from the city to do the city's public areas. So, and I did talk to Brian on that a couple of weeks ago, so I'm assuming something got done, but I don't know from a Silver Lake standpoint. I also know we've paid to, the Park and Rec has paid to spray
Spray, yeah.
Mhm.
areas both at Silver and at Casey. I don't remember what we sprayed for,
Neither do I.
or when it was.
A couple years ago.
Yeah,
Right.
It was
3-4
pre-COVID, I
years
feel
ago.
like.
A long while ago.
So, I mean, that might be something to look into as well. What did we, because it wasn't cheap.
No. But that, part of that cost is split with the Silver Lake.
Silver Lake
Homeowners.
Park paid for a chunk of theirs. I think we covered like the beach and a couple of docks or something.
Yeah, we
The
don't.
Silver Lake Association?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, what I remember is that the PNR paid for all of Casey, because there is no lake association to help, to raise funds or to cover the costs.
So we need to get this on a council workshop.
That's the next step, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
Yeah.
That's,
for Jim to.
that's my
make a decision
guidance.
what needs to happen.
I could be steering you down the wrong direction. Lisa, I'm gonna look to you for help on that one. I don't know if we'll go to Brian, or if Terry weighs in.
Yeah, good through.
Okay.
So,
And
Anything
then,
else on that, in the interest of our other gentlemen tonight?
Sure.
Is there anything else, any other questions for Jim?
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, folks.
Thanks, Jim.
thanks, Jim.
Next
I'm
up.
not even gonna try. There you go, can you state your name for us?
Yes, I'm Rahul Pfizer, and
Rahul Pfizer?
Rahul Pfizer.
Thank you.
I'm a high schooler at Roseville Area High School and a Boy Scout in Little Canada's Troop 462.
Well, welcome, thanks for coming.
Yep, thanks. So my project is on wood duck houses in North St. Paul.
Lisa, I think you gotta go to the next slide.
And wood ducks are a commonly found bird near lakes and wooden potholes. They nest in hollow trees or sheltered areas, but they do not build their own nests. So as a result, wood duck populations have been nearly extinct because of habitat loss, commonly around lakes and urban areas, such as here. And in 1937, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service built the first set of wood duck houses, and they created about 500 boxes in Illinois, and they were successful.
sorry.
So wood structures are preferred over plastic or metal because they allow the ducklings to climb out of the box in order to exit. And there are a number of ways to protect the hens and clutches from predators. And in my proposal, I will be using 2 sets of concentric pipes which will prevent predators from climbing up into the houses. And I had a house plant given to me by David Nelson, who's a Minnesota master naturalist, and he has built dozens of duck houses, and he'll be guiding me on how to build them.
Where are you doing it?
So I'm doing 5 at Casey Lake Park, and then 1 will be basically a transfer of an old box that is in disrepair, and then putting on a new one there.
Okay.
Any extra materials will just be used to create more duck houses that I will give to Nelson, and he will be able to use those houses for any new projects or if he needs to replace other duck houses. I guess that's about all that in that slide. And then as my project plan, I was to build 5 duck houses at Casey Lake and then replace them in Southwood. And for locations, I kind of outlined 5 spots, each of which is about at least 50 feet away from each other to prevent competition, and then also at least 25 feet from any docks or any paths up to the shoreline, just to discourage human interactions with the ducklings.
So you get high enough up in the air, Jim, it doesn't look as green.
Yeah. Looking pretty good there.
we'll have to bring our city planner in to review this as well, just an FYI.
Yeah, that's my understanding with the city planner, with WWSB, and then whoever else, as far as structure-wise. I don't know, that's gonna be as big a structure as the one out in Southwood, because I know that one had to get a little bit more detailed.
Yeah, yeah, that had to go through Minspect as well, but being as if this is near the shoreland, we'll definitely have to have our city planner review that first.
Yeah.
So we have to ask the watershed too.
Eric will have to determine that. Eric, our city planner, will advise us on that.
And maintenance is going to be pretty low, as you only really need to replace the wood shavings inside the box once a year and just empty out any old eggs.
Who does that?
The Boy Scouts will be doing it.
Thank you.
It helps with getting service hours for younger scouts who need to rank up.
So that'll be an ongoing basis, they'll
Yep.
just kind of adopt that as their thing.
Yep. And really the main help that I can get is proper signage and education. As without education, people may be not told not to actually interact with the ducklings and could actually bother them. When people are educated about wood ducks and conservation efforts, they will be more aware of the work that not only Boy Scouts but also the city of North St. Paul has been doing. And citizens will realize that ecological projects can be low cost with a noticeable impact. I was looking at costs, and it's about $300 to $400 for all 6 houses, which I would say is pretty reasonable. So thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, what are you gonna build them on?
I'm using recycled wood pallets that were going to be used, well actually just thrown away, but we decided to take those and actually reuse them. They're not treated, so they won't be harmful for the environment.
Oh, wait a minute. This obviously is like 3/4 inch thick material, I'm assuming it's compressed wood?
I do not believe so.
No, it's
No,
either
it's a
pine,
pallet.
pine or
Yeah.
oak.
Oh, I misunderstood something.
Yeah, pallets.
Oh, pallets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Now, those are oak typically.
So at $60 a piece, is that mostly the pipe then?
Yeah, it's mostly the pipe, and then there needs to be kind of this cement surface, I think, on the top, which actually just prevents like leakage and stuff.
Cement surface on top of,
Like on the roof, basically, of the box.
not shingles, but cement?
No.
Okay. Like a hardy board?
Can you go back to the plan slide?
I had got a list here. I believe it's contact cement, as they call it.
Contact cement would be to adhere something to the top.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the width on your wood? 7? You got 9
Eight-
1/4 inches on one?
8 by 7
8 by
3/4.
9 1/4?
Yeah.
You found pallets that size?
We found boards, and then we will be cutting them to size, so yes. And David Nelson has been using pallets from the same source
Oh, good.
for basically the exact same project.
Nice.
Okay.
So it's been proven to
All right.
and last about 10 years or so.
Awesome.
So maybe on your sustainability efforts to reuse, reduce. That's
Thank you.
wonderful to hear.
So what do you need from us?
Mostly it's signage and just like getting the word out when I'm actually done with it.
When do you think you're gonna be done?
So my hope is before I guess the frost comes in, so looking like October or so.
Okay.
The biggest issue for me is getting approval, not just from the city but also from the Boy Scouts, which I have to go through as well. So those are kind of the biggest holdups for me.
Will you be okay if the sign may not be available for this till the spring of next year, seeing as it might take us a little bit of time to get signs approved?
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
Okay.
It's just a tricky time because right now we have to, you heard a little bit about, we have to create a plan,
Yeah.
like a published park plan, and we can't spend any money until we do that.
Yeah.
And it's a big undertaking.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to hear us saying no. We are just we're stuck in a process at the moment.
Okay.
But I don't think that would stop you from keeping your end moving forward.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Who's funding it?
I'll be doing fundraising around the neighborhood where I live, which is Little Canada.
Great, sounds
Yeah.
awesome. I don't-
Good presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Raul, this is one of the best first presentations
Yeah,
I
so,
think
yeah.
that this group has seen.
Thank you.
I've had the opportunity to sit with Ian David Nelson a few weeks ago, just because he needed a couple things to get to this point.
Yeah.
One of which, Ron Ritchie has been, basically your city contact person?
Basically,
There
yeah.
was a name that you used. I
Yeah, it
can't
was called
remember.
like beneficiary, I believe is what the Boy Scouts use for it. Basically the person that they would go to if they need proof or evidence of like all the work being done.
Yeah,
Got
so Ron signed off on that, so kind of everything runs through Ron. What I don't know are the things that you brought up. I don't believe Watershed needs to approve it because we're not planting anything, but I don't know. So those are things that need to be,
I think in the past, we've had wood deck houses put up, and I don't ever remember Watershed having to okay it.
Were they within 75 feet of the shoreline? I think that might be the
Remember.
issue, but we'll have to,
Yeah.
Especially because we have to put concrete footers in. That's
Yeah.
gonna
Did
be
you
They
say-
were put in South.
Oh, you didn't put concrete footers in?
No, so we'll be like driving in the posts,
Right.
so they will not need any cement or
Okay.
concrete.
Yeah, he was talking about, and I think the contact cement stuff you're talking on top, I don't know that that's
Yeah.
Sheeting.
concrete.
Yeah, I think he said it was a contact cement that
Yeah.
would be, I guess,
Could
waterproof.
attach something on top, yeah.
Yeah.
But it didn't, those don't need to be put into a concrete footing.
Okay.
No.
Sorry I had to step out at a family call and everything, but just want to apologize.
No, you did a good job.
and to build a little bit on the signage piece, it's more on education, is what he's asking.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Park and Rec to fund. I learned a lot sitting there. You know, the wood ducks have houses that they lay eggs in that they don't incubate because it's like their overage. And those have to be cleaned out, and there are other birds, I guess, that come in and attempt to prey. So there was, brought up a lot of educational aspect of it, so.
Do you need us to create the content of the sign?
Probably.
That sounds like a good master naturalist project, so
Yeah.
maybe Dave would be interested in that.
if the signs don't have to be printed, we could do this without a cost. If it could be on the city website and then the city e-news and any other electronic.
We also could just laminate a piece of paper temporarily and staple it to
Fence
the,
post.
up in the area of the,
I have a lamination machine.
yeah, sweet.
Sweet.
Maybe that's the route we'll take, temporary signage, once you all are done. Again, I'm not making that decision for the group, but then we can figure out how to get actual signs in there.
I love the idea of actual, like, educational signs. I think that could be
Agreed.
looped in with something in Southwood and maybe their team and maybe some of those master masters that might want to say, here's some plants, or like, you know, things that you see when you go to like a park preserve that, I think we could wrap that as the total something or other.
Yeah, and they've done some, Kathy has some of those, she has them on the back boxes and on another box, so. We'll work on it.
Thank you.
I
Any
think
other
that's,
questions?
Did you already go to city council with this?
No, I'll be going on October 5th, I believe is the next one.
Okay,
I
so
guess
do we make a recommendation?
I'll make a recommendation that he proceeds forward with the project as noted. Second,
I second that.
Sue? Okay, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? You're on your way?
Nicely done.
Good
Nicely
job.
done.
Wasn't as horrible as I told you it would be.
Well, we just wanna see you when you're all done or whatever. Are you starting this fall? No, probably not, huh?
I'm hoping to, it really depends on just how quickly the approval process
Right.
for the Boy Scouts is, so I just cannot do
Oh,
any work
yeah.
really until then. Because they have to, I guess, make any sort of adjustments on their end or comments first.
Mm.
Yeah.
Not that it's important, the signs that would be put up, like, do they need like a little, like, Could you make little extra, with some of your wood, make little backers so we could staple them to them and just pound them in sort of thing? Or where would they get hooked to?
Well, I think the concern is you want the sign far enough away, because the whole point of the sign is that, because we have to stay away, right?
Yeah.
To give them space,
So if you
so,
made a little, if you had wood enough to make little flat areas with a,
Mhm.
with a stake where we could put them where they need to be, that would, they'd be somewhere at the right space to staple the signs to.
yeah, because I don't know if there's a fence, you all know the area.
I would think somewhere along this rail fence,
Yeah, there's a.
Just on the fence?
Yeah,
or between the fence and the paved walkway, somewhere in there.
yeah, I bet.
Or even, for that matter, on one of the rails, I have no idea.
So all the ones in Southwood are good except for one then now?
Yeah.
'Cause I think those are, well, it's gotta be 10 or 12 years old, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I walked through with David, and he showed me which one that had an issue, and then we looked at all of them, and I think.
Yeah. You're like working with Dave, he's pretty thorough.
Yeah.
Yep. He's pretty
I don't wanna
dedicated.
chase somebody out of.
Any other questions?
Good job.
Very, very well done. Thank you very much. So, you gonna hang out for your civic,
I know.
civic,
Yeah.
or you can skedoodle. Need a civic project studies or awards, we can take care of that for you. All right. So it's Rahel?
Raul,
Raul. Thanks. All right, public hearings, no.
We do not have anyone for the public hearing via Zoom.
Okay.
Actually, we don't have a public hearing, period.
Commission, review approved park policy revisions.
So I had sent that, it was in the packet, and then it was also a handout from the July meeting of what Carrie had redlined in the park policy, and she wanted your approval on that.
I believe it was this,
We
the
discussed.
rates and everything
Yeah.
were discussed 2 meetings ago, but there
Yep.
wasn't a quorum last month to
Correct,
approve
so we don't have-
what
yeah.
was there.
Yeah, well, the rates are finalized, but it was actually the policy changes that we were looking to approve her recommendation of what she redlined.
What do we change?
Anything that's relevant, everything changed.
Yeah, and on a sidebar to that, because I know we're talking about deposits, I had a few people mention to me today about a party or something that went on at Casey Lake last night or the night before.
Yesterday, there was a celebration of life for the 2 kids who were killed.
And there was complaints of kids running around and smells of whatever. So I just let them know that I passed it on to the park commission.
Okay, I didn't hear of anything.
And they had mentioned that the police had been in the area too,
Okay.
so.
Do you want me to, do I need to do anything with that, or other than note it?
Do the police
Oh,
know
the
about it,
police-
I assume, or the city?
The police, if you just wanna make a note, I told them I'd put it on record.
Okay,
And then I suggested that if they have any other concerns, I educated them that do not intervene. Please call the police department, because they wanna have reports of it. Let the liaisons know, or let the city council know when things like this happen, so we can at least have it on record.
okay.
And he said, okay, that's all we're looking for, is to let people know, somebody know that's what's going on.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people just say, well, I don't wanna tell anybody. No, let us know.
I know there was a report, well, over the weekend, we had to call in the maintenance people from a party, so it's still going on,
You
so
can't
yeah.
get a deposit fee set up quick enough, guys.
No.
From my opinion.
I just
Was
can't,
there
believe- I
something-
just can't believe this ever went
Should have
away.
never
Like,
been
and it-
taken
and-
away.
Was there something in Housie too,
Yeah, there was a
The
shooting.
door was,
kicked in?
Oh, that just.
Oh, there was, yeah,
oh, yeah.
yeah, there's something else over there, yeah. All right.
I would
Anything
just
from
hope
us?
as a plan of action for the future that if things like that, like, happen again, that they would bring that to the council, like, I just can't, we all would have sat here and said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yep. So now the deposit, as my understanding is, they're writing you a check or cash, and we're cashing it, and then they get their money back, so they can't bounce.
I think and that would be in the policy, I think that all still needs to be defined.
So I think we said no to the credit card because
Yeah.
they
It
could,
just says
Yep.
payments can be made online or payment may be made by cash or check at the North St. Paul City Hall located at.
How can it be made online?
Well, the credit
Yeah,
card one's
it's just
still fine, they take your money, your credit card gets
But they
charged.
can cancel the
But they
credit,
can
or
dispute it.
they can dispute
Yeah.
it,
Oh, I
so
see.
that was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
reservation, so I know
So
we
could-
talked about.
Yeah,
Cash
so
or
it
check
can't be
cannot be
online.
online, so
Can you
that
take-
needs to
Well,
be
you can do
changed.
you can do an auto check, does our system let us do checks online?
Mhm.
Got it?
can we take the online off then?
We can.
Yeah,
Probably
we
need to
have-
be.
they have to
I would
physically go into the
suggest,
city
yeah.
hall.
if we're gonna do with the cash and check.
So we just need to approve the red line, so does anybody have any issues with the policy that's been redlined or changed?
They're just saying right now that part of it is rental or there's mention of able to pay online, right?
Oh, yeah.
But is this, broad sweeping, do we have to approve it all or deny it all? Or can we say approve with additional?
It's completely up to you.
So make your recommendation and then we'll just, let them, review it from there. I would imagine we can just give our recommendation and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think under deposits, I think I would be more specific about needing to physically come into the city hall and pay cash or check.
Yep.
Because it doesn't list that.
It just says damage deposits are due at the time of application and must be paid with your reservation.
Right.
Upon the return of the key and inspection of the building, damage deposit will be refunded within 3 weeks. All refunds from the city of North St. Paul are paid via check, made payable to the applicant on the reservation. So when we open up rental, the rental is online and can be paid for with a credit card, correct? Isn't that
That's
how
my
the
understanding.
rental process works?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the deposit has to be
So-
check in person.
Mm-hmm.
So technically somewhere in here, my opinion, is the rental requirements, and payments can be made online or payments can be made in cash or check. So that's the rental piece of it.
For the
is way-
rental
Is the way I understand that, which is fine. But it doesn't say, under deposits, it says damage deposits are due upon time of application. So if you apply online, you can't
Right.
make your,
Yeah.
so my only guidance to clean that up would be if rental payments are made online, check or cash needs to be delivered to the city within X number of days to
Yeah.
maintain your
To
rental.
guarantee,
go.
yeah, to
Mhm.
guarantee.
That would be my
I'd say
guidance.
5 days, I think
Okay.
that's fair enough. I
Five.
mean, most,
5 business days?
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
and I think then you have to put a clause like, but no more than X amount of days out from, because if you rent it tomorrow, like, then you don't.
Right.
Unless it's within,
I'd just say within like 3 to 5 days. Because sometimes I could see myself like doing that while I'm like somewhere else and then be like, oh, I'm at the cabin, like,
Yep.
and now I can't get there right now. So maybe we just say that, and then obviously there's probably an exception if you decide you want to rent it tonight or something, you're just going to pay everything all at once, so.
Well, you could put a line in there that says keys will not be issued until we have received a damage deposit.
There you go.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll
you're,
go.
But that's all, well,
I mean, both. We need to say both.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it covers we need to have it within 5 days, or if it's sooner, you will not be issued keys until,
or sooner.
yeah, your reservation
That'll
is not
clean everything
guaranteed
up.
until.
yeah,
guaranteed.
exactly.
then we wouldn't need the, within 5 days.
And then,
Yes,
yeah,
and-
I apologize.
No, go ahead.
My only other thought was, do you put anything on there that if deposit isn't received within X days, you lose your reservation and your payment will be refunded?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yes, and you will be notified of.
Knock on something, as of right now, that both those buildings are still in demand.
Yeah. But I could see that if you're opening a course a year and someone doesn't give their deposit and somebody else wants June 10th or whatever graduation
Yeah,
date is popular,
yeah.
it needs to be able to be open to the next
Yep.
person,
Yep.
yeah.
I wonder what other communities do, how they deal with it.
A lot of people do the credit card thing, they just don't. When I rented one from Roseville, a couple years ago, and it was, or Minneapolis, I didn't remember, but I paid on credit card, the deposit, and then they refunded it. But understandably, they probably get people who cancel it.
So we're trying to be
Carrie had
proactive.
issued
Your credit card will
a
close your
comparison.
account if you cry wolf too much. Like if you say, this is fraud, like, they will close your
Oh, I
account, so I'm not saying it doesn't happen, it does, but someone can't do that all the time and keep,
Have we had that happen here? Is this why we're,
no, we never accepted, it was
It was
always,
cash or check.
it was cash or check. The whole thing was check. But the problem that's gonna get dated with that eventually is that a lot of people my age and younger don't have checkbooks anymore. Like,
Implying I
I
do.
don't even have
And people
checkbooks for
don't.
most of my accounts, like, so. And they're becoming harder to get, yeah, it's just, so people use Venmo or PayPal, so my other suggestion would be for the city to look into eventually alternate payment structures, like a PayPal is cash.
Yep.
Venmo, Zelly, any of those things
Yep.
could transfer from your account and avoid someone having to physically come down into an office, which, that's a pain for a lot of people.
And then how does the deposit, the refund go on that then?
It just sits, so it sits in your Venmo, and then you can issue it back out. It's not like it gets deposits in a
Oh,
bank,
okay.
like it's held there.
I think the city will still issue checks for a refund because you gotta have a paper trail.
Right.
Well, they could still issue a check for a paper, like, you can still deposit a check on your phone, like, that's no problem, but it's the,
You're saying a lot of
eventually,
It's
we
the
need to get,
ease of
eventually,
the
we need to get
people.
with the times,
Yep.
because
Yep.
I feel like with Minneapolis, I did it all online, I didn't drive to Minneapolis because I did a baby shower at like one of the parks, and
Yep.
I did not drive a check over to, I wouldn't have done that.
Yep.
So,
We're just trying to repair what got lost in the
Mhm,
shuffle.
mhm.
yeah,
Okay, so,
And maybe
It's
you
all right
could
now.
start with having the deposit online as well, and if it becomes a problem, then change it to cash only. I don't know, I'm just looking for ideas out.
yeah, I think,
because it might not be a problem.
Right.
I think in the past, we did it all online when we did have a damaged deposit, we never had issues.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Every time I rented it, I had a check.
Did you?
Yes.
In fact, the city notified me that
Oh.
they haven't refunded me from 2017.
Oh, no.
Ingrid, did you have something to say?
Go ahead, Ingrid.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. The sound is kind of in and out. I'm not able to hear everything.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying, it's fine. I don't need that to assist or anything,
Turn
because
the volume down on your-
I can follow.
It's because
just about-
there's multiple people logged into this.
Yeah, but anyway, my question though has to do with, and I'm all for whatever you guys are saying about whatever you decide on regarding, how it's
Ingrid,
made.
can you start over again, because we had a little technical difficulty? I apologize.
Okay. My question is, as long as we're looking at this, is damage, the word, like, when it discusses damages, is that pretty clearly defined? Because we don't want someone coming back to us saying, what do you mean I damaged it?
That's all.
Is that pretty clearly defined in there?
Tim says it
Regarding,
is.
the definition of,
It's all in the current contract.
So I'll pull up
what?
the park facility
Tim says it's in
rental
the current
review.
contract.
We haven't had an issue in the past, Ingrid, because they said they did go back on people's deposits. I don't know, if I wasn't there for those interactions, but they
Yeah.
did take deposits, so.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's all I had, was just, I wanted to make sure people couldn't come back and go, you didn't define damages well enough, so, I want my money back, or
But if the
whatever,
average,
so,
sorry,
So
so if the average person signs up January 1st, puts their credit card down for the reservation, it goes through the cycle and it's probably paid to the city, right? And then at the same time, because we're saying they have to pay within 7 days of reservation, that would mean this whole cycle of payment would already have gone through several months before they actually use the place. So that chasing it down might not be as hard as we think, because the claim, well, that was a fraudulent charge. Well, if I sign up for June and I get charged in January or February, why am I sitting on it for 3 months and then claiming fraudulent?
It also is way less work for the city to have to manage a bunch of people coming in to drop off checks if we do it online.
I think the city supports the check piece of it.
Okay.
That's why we got away from the check, because the current software that was in the city at the time was unable to process. The new software that we have now.
Well,
is
I
able-
say
is
for
able to
now, we just
process.
edit the language that you guys said. And then I would say, moving forward as like a goal state is, I do think the city would encourage the city to look at other means of payment methods, whether it's Zelly, which is a bank safe, like money transfer. Because it's just, we're gonna die with the times if we don't keep up with them, so,
And the question I'd ask though with that is, are we having trouble renting this? Like,
no.
okay, so if we're
But
not
there's
having
no
trouble.
deposit right now, so,
Right.
so they're just damaging.
But if we're not having trouble renting it, then, and the issue is we're having this damage seem to be a recurring theme, then if it's a little harder, isn't that okay?
Yeah.
You know, if it's just a little harder on them, I don't know that, like, I get the Venmo thing, I
Yeah.
love using Venmo, because it's super convenient for me, but if the objective of this whole thing is we're getting damaged and we're not being able to be compensated for it, maybe it's okay to make it a little more difficult.
I think we're not gonna solve that part right now, so I think it's okay just to edit the language. I'm fine with that. My suggestion moving forward would be, I think,
Yeah.
as we continue to rent buildings and we update things at the park, that they then get more rentals, I do
Yeah.
think. And we can't control that, because as a park board, we don't control what the city payment systems are,
Right.
but,
Right, and there might be some regulations.
I mean, I literally have 2 bank accounts where I have no place to like go deposit cash anymore, so like I just hold on to cash people give me and spend it slowly, like it's just, it's what, you know, I'm 40 years old, but that's just kind of how it's become in my life,
It
you know,
is.
it's just,
I
my
mean,
banks
we're
are
gonna have to take-
online, you
sooner
know,
or later
everything's
we're gonna have to
online, I just.
Figure out how to do Bitcoin. I mean, it's gonna
Okay.
change, it's gonna
Oh,
change,
God,
but I
It
mean,
took me a half hour today
I didn't mean to open that can, I'm sorry.
reserve Booyah
Mm-hmm.
online. It
Yeah.
took me a half hour.
Yeah,
That is not an easy thing to do.
yeah.
Who inspects the place? Because there's a note in there, it's the same condition the renter
Right.
found it. Are we assuming that somebody from the, or do we know that
Who's
somebody
checking
from the
Cleaning
city
crew
is
comes in,
walking?
that cleaning crew comes in that night.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it's been,
Oh, the same night?
so
Yeah.
what do we
They have
got,
to have it ready for the next morning.
Yeah.
what are we looking at for changes then?
I'm gonna backtrack just a minute. Here's an answer to what other cities are doing, from the last, when this went out in the packet. So if you wanna just take a quick minute to look at that, otherwise it would be on page 10 of the 7/20, 28th, July 28th meeting minutes. So that's where you'll find that. As far as the red line, here's some things we may want to consider. We already reevaluated the park rental fees. We discussed all of that. Here's the current policy. These are the changes, so maybe if we want to just, we can note those.
Okay, go ahead, Nancy,
No, I just gonna say, I wonder if they even read these though.
because Nancy and I are reading where it says the Park and Rec Department retains the right to shut down any rental. Do we want to be the ones to be that, and do that, or should we note that as the city of North St. Paul?
Where is that?
It
Was
says
in
surrounding,
what
what the
page is that
surrounding
on?
cities, I don't know if that's in ours.
It was that previous page you had listed?
It says the Park and Rec Department retains the right to shut down any rental for any violation of the park permit rules and regulations, city ordinance. It's under surrounding cities and
Yeah,
cities.
right there.
But
Oh,
we
okay.
don't have that's for places like White Bear that has a full staff for a Parks and Rec department and a
Oh,
facility manager.
okay.
That's not
okay,
a city, that's a volunteer commission.
Okay. So, what do we got for changes?
So I think we were talking about a couple of changes specifically around the, deposit.
Okay,
Yep.
so this is do you wanna agree or make changes to this part first? We'll just kinda go through it,
Sure.
okay?
I think that looks good,
Okay,
sorry.
Everybody okay?
Yep.
Yay on that part?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. I don't think we have to vote on each one, I'll just make sure everybody's in agreement.
So we said, changing it from due at the time of application to due within 5 business days of the application. Something like if your rental is sooner, checks or keys will not be issued until deposit is received.
Define
is that
sooner.
right here? Is that what we're changing? I'm sorry, I'm just not following.
No, I think
No,
it's
under
under
deposits.
Oh, right here, okay. So we're okay with this wording?
Yeah,
I
that's
thought,
fine.
or we were gonna say, but the deposit has to be in place prior to getting the keys and that, then we could eliminate that short-term piece. If I rented it, 2 days from now, I'd have to get the money in for the deposit before I could get the keys.
I would say that you probably can't rent it 2 days from now.
No, but,
It's, last I looked, we're booked out.
Okay, so
Sure.
damage deposits are due, at the time of application, keys will not be, well, I mean, that's not necessarily true, is it?
Right, because if the reservation's done online and they have to pay the application in person, or the deposit in person, that's
Right.
I
kind of
think we were
conflicting.
gonna try to do away with the in-person, did I misunderstand that?
No, I think we're
Making a
we keep
We're
the
doing
recommendation?
the
checks.
You
in-person
can mail it,
check
you
and
can write
cash.
the check.
Okay,
or can't we say, somewhere in there that, but,
Well, then we can't say that.
I would just say damage deposits are due within 5 business
There you
days
go.
of application in person
There you go.
there you go.
at the City of North St. Paul offices or
Well, that
whatever you
would
call it.
cover
City
it
Hall.
all too, because within 5 days, if I rented it tomorrow, yeah, okay.
And I do think it's important to say keys will not be issued until your deposit has been received.
I agree.
So that can come after the,
Keys or code. Is it a code at housing?
Sure.
I think they put the,
I think it
yeah, they
is.
put the
The
door
code.
thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
So
we're not
keys
really
are
saying
code.
keys,
Right.
yeah.
Sure. Whatever.
okay.
Any dissents on this? Okay,
I'm fine with everything else.
everybody else fine with everything else? Okay,
Check.
that's Southwood Park budget. I believe we're done, sorry, Nick, Lisa, are we good with the policy piece?
Whatever you want, that's totally
Do we
Can
fine.
I
So
make
do you
a-
need to make a
Nope.
recommendation for it to go to council? Or does it just go? Because I thought that's what we couldn't do last month, because there wasn't quorum.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay, well,
I make a recommendation that the park policy goes to city council for final approval.
I'll second that.
second discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Policy and rate schedule.
Got it.
Can I clarify that our time cutoff is 8 PM? Is
I
that-
got a hard stop at 7:30, so.
Okay, I
Oh,
just,
yeah, that worked.
It's good.
I just wanna, yeah, so we have a half an hour to cover everything else.
Okay,
That's my
Ingrid,
call.
did you have something?
No.
Okay.
No, I was just saying hi.
Aye, okay. Park budget, Southwood,
Tim, I know you were in on this,
I wasn't in on anything.
oh, Kathy Trundle had, I know in one of our previous meetings, there was a comment made that Kathy hadn't requested any money for the park fund, and knowing that there had been some spraying done, there was question as to where that funding came from. Kathy was told by Scott Dudak that her budget was the same as last year's, and she sent that information, so that's included in the packet as well. And I know Tim commented, or someone commented, that we need to do it the right way and have it go through council, keep them in the loop on it. So, we'll get that,
So she knows we're backing up a little bit?
yes,
Okay.
yes, so she knows
So
that.
it was my understanding she should be coming in here to present this at some point.
So she's not able to, so she's.
Oh, due to COVID?
She's sent in, yes.
Okay.
Trails need wood chips. So during COVID, there was some misguidance provided, and for 2 years, Scott basically just approved whatever the prior year was. It was either 6,000 or 6,500.
Mhm.
She hasn't spent anywhere near that. I think it was 3,500 a year ago, and she's maybe at 1,500 this year with one more spraying left.
Right, we'll have to check. It's my understanding that some of her funds were paid from the Public Works funds when they should have been coming out of her budget, so we're looking into that.
In 20.
And the wood chips are a lot more than what they had been last year, so there's also that dispute going on.
So we need
So what I've got is, due to the pandemic, I haven't been able to spend the entire $6,500. In 2020, $3,633.09. This year so far, we have spent $1,460.66, with another prairie treatment for Minnesota landscape and buckthorn removal from the Minnesota Conservation Corps still planned. Some of the trails need wood chips, especially the trail off Margaret Street that got destroyed with the removal of the trees and the drainage reconstruction. I was told that the wood chip, I was told it would be wood chipped when the work was done, but this has never happened. I contacted Ron about possible wood chips on the trail and having Public Works do it. Ron said the chips for the trail would require 500 yards at $20 a yard. Way out of our budget, she says. I'm trying
Because
to.
she's proposing a specific kind.
It's gotta be a specific.
Yeah, untreated.
Or does it?
No, I think it has to be.
Didn't we just grind trees up and drop them on there before?
Yes,
Yeah.
but that was a huge issue.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
I don't know anything about it.
Because it was, they weren't ground fine enough, basically. She said they dumped them and it was basically like 2/3 wood chips and then random twigs and
Junk,
plastic
yeah.
and all of this
And then you
crap.
got the invasive issues.
But it was
too.
Yeah.
way too expensive to do just regular, normal wood chips.
In
Yep.
2018, Keith found wood chips, $1,000 for 100 yards.
Well, that's, I
Ron
mean,
said Keith, I don't want to read it.
No, it's the truth.
Needless to say,
Go
there's no
ahead.
records that can be found.
It's the
That's the
truth.
paraphrase portion of what's in here.
So she has spent, how much for, so
Um,
2020
we're-
was
we're-
approved, correct?
So was
Is that right?
2021.
21 was approved as well by Scott for $6,500 is my understanding. I can't quote how much she has spent so far because they need to investigate and find out how much was spent out of the Public Works budget for the spraying that was done.
so like the
So-
line item got allocated to the wrong place?
Yes.
Okay.
Potentially. For what she's provided me,
Okay.
she spent $3,633.09. This year she spent $1,460.66. So where we applied those bills when they came in, we'll probably have to get with Dan, I have no
Mhm.
idea.
Yeah.
But per her budgeting, that's what she has spent.
$5,093 would be the total.
That was for that's 2 seasons.
That's
1
2 years.
year.
Oh,
That's
2
2
years,
years,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
So we
She's
need to
been
get
given
back on
6
track for
Right.
2022.
So she has, and I don't know if, I was assuming it was in the packet, she has provided me with the 2022 budget proposal, which is at $6,500, which is consistent with what it has been, I think, since I've been
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
I don't think it's, within $500, I don't think it's ever moved.
Yeah.
Professional buckthorn removal, $2,500.
Yeah.
Professional invasive plant, is it in the packet?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Oh,
it's
2021 budget or 2022?
2022.
I don't have that one.
Professional invasive plant treatment, prairie restoration areas, $3,200. Supplies, flagging chemicals, foaming agent, bags and gloves, $200. Earth Day cleanup, garlic mustard plus wood, $300, and seed plants, $300. So it totals $6,500. And
Can
what
we-
I am going to do is I'm going to forward the email.
In the interest of
My
time,
apologies.
do we want to put this on the agenda for October and get it approved then, because we'll still have time?
Can we approve anything? I thought we couldn't approve.
We can make recommendations to be approved, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, but I thought we couldn't spend any of our money.
Does she feel, my biggest question is,
Well,
does she feel pressed to have the wood chips before winter? That's my,
But as of now,
It's not
it sounds like Scott has already approved some of the stuff
For this year.
for this year. Are we going to
but didn't,
retroactive back to, no, we need to approve all that, or are we just gonna move forward?
It's been approved.
It's been approved by Scott.
right, it's been
Yeah.
approved, but she's asking to exceed her budget.
No, she's not.
So do we
You
have to
just
do
said
anything?
that she wants to do the 500 yards or whatever of wood chips, right?
Well, then the city would.
No, that's the quote she got and said that's in excess. She hasn't asked for it.
Okay.
It needs to be wood chipped, and that's a conversation that this group needs to have. And based on the cost of wood chips, I would suggest, what's it look like to start to blacktop some of those trails?
We looked into that.
And it's ungodly
It was
expensive,
really
but
expensive.
So that's why my suggestion is if we're gonna have a longer conversation with this, that we table it and talk about it next month, and
So nothing needs to be done right now about this budget?
It just, I guess it sounded like there was a sense of urgency, which is why I was asking that question. But if there isn't, then I support tabling it.
there's a sense of urgency on her part because she realized that it might not have all been approved the way that it should
I
have been
see.
approved.
Got it.
But
Okay.
she's gonna get her
So-
money back, right? She's
So
not
her
sitting
sense of
out- okay,
urgency is just to bring everybody up to speed.
Got
it.
Because
Okay.
I had a conversation with her and.
I can't remember the park plan exactly, but there is some like there is some things on there about bringing Southwood up to be a more modern, and I think that needs to be part of that.
Yep.
Personally, I've always been in support of a blacktop, but for people with strollers and things, and like
And we can-
wheelchairs and things like that to be able to access, at least the main loop, so
Yeah.
I think maybe we just go back to that when the time comes to,
Yeah.
Can
I
we,
think it's in there.
I
honestly.
mean,
put it
to
on
me, to me, all she's asking for is a maintenance budget approved, so it's
Oh,
not,
Okay.
Okay.
you know, we're not putting in benches, we're not putting in playground equipment. All
Yeah.
she's asking for is 2020 approval for her, maintenance.
Yeah.
she's got that.
And I don't, for 2022, she doesn't from the group. And I don't necessarily think it's anything overly pressing.
Okay,
No,
great.
That
That was my
could be
biggest
done
question.
next month or the month following.
We usually do her budget for the next year in October,
You'll need to
November.
unlock it. I found at least 25 appointments.
I'm sorry.
You've got a lot of appointments coming up
I
there. Jen.
do. And this is the city
So does
laptop.
that,
Can we-
does that go with the Southwood work fee for
Yeah.
service thing? Can we just lump that together, say we're done?
Next time.
There was a contract for that, and yeah, we can table that till
Was
next
it already
time.
paid though from this Scott approval business? This Southwood Park fee for service? Because I guess my thought is if the city's already
The
approved
work
it-
hasn't been done, so
Okay.
it wouldn't have been paid for. The contract was just recently signed.
But was part of her budget, right? So that 6,000 or whatever that she got last year approved from Scott?
Yeah,
We don't know.
Okay, all right.
I concur with you, Sarah.
I guess my feeling is if Scott already approved that money and she's already been spending it, then like, I feel like she just needs to get grandfathered into that this year and then we review it next year and just let it go.
Which would
And the
be.
city sounds like they gotta figure out where the money went, but that's not our,
Right.
Yeah, so shall we table it and talk about it and?
I just don't know what else there is to
October?
talk about. I don't know.
Well,
Lisa, I sent
approving
you
her
Kathy's email.
Pardon me?
I sent you Kathy's email, which has her proposal and everything on it and
Yeah.
all of her definitions.
Okay, so we're gonna
So,
table.
do I need to take action on that with anything? I mean, I have a copy of it and I included
If
it
the
in the
2020
packet.
proposal was not in the packet, you can take her 2020 proposal and add it to the packet.
Yep, no, I got that, but it
And-
was the 2022
and-
proposal that I didn't get.
That's that's in the email I just forwarded to you.
Oh, just now, okay,
Yep.
okay, got
And
it.
then it calls out what she spent, because I said it fast both times, what she spent in 2020 and 2021 to date. So that also references that.
So we can
Okay.
discuss it, we can table it and discuss it in October.
Great.
Good?
All right.
And C, the same piece is gonna be tabled till October?
Great.
Okay, correct?
With that, I
Okay.
apologize, I have to
Nope.
scoot.
To one of
I
your
hope
meetings.
to see, in one of my 25 meetings, I hope to see everybody on the parade route tomorrow night. 6:30.
I may be waving.
See you there tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Rotary Park,
See you.
signs.
Still on hold as far as I know. I have not heard back from the manufacturer on that.
And it was the COVID issue that was holding
Yes, it
yep.
was, as far as the production goes. As far as the signs go, where we're at with it, I know there was a debate on whether or not he was gonna use a North St. Paul branded sign. The last meeting, were you at that?
No.
The Rotary Park meeting?
No, they do them on Tuesday morning at work, but
Okay.
Jim's been sending me the information.
Okay,
keeping me updated.
so if you probably noted then, they discussed two signs now. One, a city park sign, which would have our branding and match all of the other
Yep.
city parks. And then they also are proposing a kiosk. So I don't know if you guys need to decide if your $4,000 needs to be allocated to one or the other, or how to proceed from here. That's just,
Why don't we just wait till we get something going with the sign company, and then we can discuss the kiosk piece with it and
Okay.
decide what we're gonna do with it.
okay.
'Cause
That
right
was,
now,
that was the debate, because I'm pretty strong on the side that if we're spending park money, it needs to be a North St. Paul
Yeah,
or park
agreed,
branded
yeah.
sign. And that was, their strong feeling was they didn't want it, and they were blaming it on the DNR, but then we discovered that that wasn't the truth, and it can be North St. Paul's, so my thing is, I think they just they don't want us to take credit for their sign, but they want us to pay for it. That's how I feel about
so
that.
we can table it till, we'll just keep
More
tabling.
information.
We'll just keep
More information, if we can move forward, that way it won't get lost in the shuffle. Quorums,
I did find out, there was conflicting information on the numbers for the quorums, and per the League of Minnesota Cities, it is half of your, it has to be at least half or more of your commissioners,
which is 5.
5.
Can I ask this, because I think, I'm just gonna say this, I think the attendance has been way worse since we have not been able to do anything with our park money.
Yep.
Because it used to be that we would come to these meetings, we would make decisions, and we would spend money, and we would improve the parks, and now we've spent 2 years doing nothing. Because even myself, I'm like, it's hard to wanna come to a place when we can't do anything. I know that we're gonna talk about the park improvement plan, but my only question would be, what is the rule around attendance? And I know I'm speaking out of like, I understand why it's hard to want to come to something where you can't make progress. However, there are a lot of people who on and off like can't make it to meetings. And so at what point are we saying at X amount of times you miss park? Because we only have, 11 a year, 10 or 11 a year.
Mhm.
At what point is there a rule that says if you miss 5 of these, like, because
There
it's
is
gonna affect,
something.
there's gonna affect all of us,
Yeah.
like, and I feel bad because I missed last month, but that was the only one I missed, besides 8 months ago, and so, at some point, I feel like we have to have some rule, I don't know if there is a
There are
rule.
rules,
Yeah,
But are we
it's
enforcing it?
listed in,
the bylaws.
right,
Yep.
yes, if you go to the website and go to government, and it lists for the
I feel like it might just be
commissions.
good to have a refresher, maybe at the
Yeah.
next meeting, and just say, just so you know, moving forward, we are gonna hold people accountable, that if you miss more than X meetings, like, you're gonna
But
be
we
asked.
also don't want people with COVID, and that's why the 2 people
But I
that I
think if
know.
you can attend online, I think that's
Sure.
fine, but there's still members that aren't, we still, like, I didn't even know I could Zoom in last month, maybe I would've done that after my work thing.
Well, we couldn't in the parks,
Oh, I
but in
see.
here we can.
And then somebody had a family issue for
Yeah.
2 months.
Mhm.
Well, I think that's completely fine, it's just a matter of like, we're not getting quorum, and like, I think you know, like one time I was traveling, well, I could have called into Zoom and like still helped you guys get quorum, like when I was gone in February. But I think it might be good to have a refresher of that, because I
Okay.
feel like we're drifting
Okay.
people off more and more.
Put it on the agenda. Sound good, Sarah?
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
Did you wanna do an agenda item and a council workshop for seeing if you can move forward with your park, spending of your park funds without the park improvement plan, because that's not in our control, and the city, I think, right now is trying to, move forward with a lot of things that have been kind of in disarray,
I
and we're
would
trying
like-
to catch up
I
on
would
things.
like to, our money is building up and we can't do, and then our parks
Mhm.
are gradually falling apart because we can't
Yeah.
spend, we can't
Okay.
fix tennis courts, we can't fix, we have, you know, we're sitting on money probably not gaining a lot of interest, and we could
Okay.
be investing it in our community, so yeah, I would like that, and maybe we have built enough into that park plan that if it needs to be referenced, but it's not, I don't know.
Do you think we need
Um,
to, do you think we need to sit down with them, Lisa, or can we just make a recommendation to them and tell them, and ask them if we can just,
I
move
think we
forward
can
with
make a
program?
recommendation to see if you can have approval to spend some funds before the park improvement plan is complete.
Sarah, do you
the-
want the workshop?
No, let's see,
We don't have the items that we know, we wanna spend the money on yet, so I don't see why we need to go to the workshop, but I do think it'd be great to bring it up to say, hey, your park commission is stuck between a rock and a hard place, and we're gonna start losing members, I guarantee you, that's why some of these people I don't think are showing up.
well, that
Um,
really hasn't been the issue. It's been for COVID or family issues. I mean, there isn't anybody that, well, I know you had a family issue.
But that's what people are telling you, that's not necessarily what.
It's an issue for me,
It's an issue
honestly.
for me.
Okay, well, we
cons-
can certainly ask. I do know that WSB is looking at, it's gonna be a while, before they're able to complete it, so, we'll have a draft by early November, but then it would be taken to the commissions and council in December, so yes, we can definitely get it
Well,
on a
I-
workshop.
We don't meet in December. so-
I mean, it might be okay at that point, but I would say,
Let's
maybe
make-
if we don't get this thing up and approved by December, then yeah, I think we need to revisit, because it's,
When
Well,
would
try
you,
to
when
recommend-
would you be
Sarah.
doing anything in the winter?
no, we wouldn't do anything in the winter, but usually that January, well, usually I'm looking at Nancy, because you have a good memory. Usually I feel like November, we started to plot out what we were
Yeah.
gonna spend
Yeah.
for the next
Yeah.
year.
Our budget, yeah.
But didn't we already do that?
No. We
I
usually
mean,
do it
yeah,
in
we
November.
did.
Yeah, you did
We
your
did in our
priorities.
park plan.
Well,
not
that's the
plan.
park plan, but we usually sit down in November and decide what we're gonna head
Yeah.
forward with.
So we say,
But
so
we've
But I
done
guess
that.
that would be
We
in the
already
park
did
plan.
that.
Years.
You already did that. You prioritized.
But we can't spend, okay, then, I think what Sarah's saying is we can't spend money.
So
but we don't know,
Right.
but we did that last year, and we've had a whole year of not being able to spend, we literally
Oh,
have
so
spent no money
last
for a solid
year's
year.
plan hasn't been executed.
Yes,
No.
I think the short answer is yes, we want to go to council and say, this is really difficult and we need to start moving on stuff because it's making us look like we don't, we
anything.
aren't
And I've
doing
heard
anything.
responses.
And it makes us feel like we aren't.
Exactly.
I don't know that if I'm the only one here, but like after 4 or 5 years of us making great progress, it's really hard to sit here and
Yep.
talk
Sarah,
in circles.
Why don't you make a recommendation? Or do you want the workshop?
I'm really behind all of this stuff. It's taking me an awful long time to catch up on what is happening here. Now, who made that rule?
City council.
City council.
Just the city council?
Way back when when we didn't have our city, when we didn't have our park improvement plan, back probably in 2020 or so, they said, okay, you need to get your park improvement plan, because we had a park improvement plan, and then it didn't go, and then it did go, and then it got lost in the shuffle, and they said, you need to get your, whoever said it on the councils, the
It is-
council told us we could not move forward with programming until we had our park improvement plan done.
So it's not
It's
really
a practical
policy.
request,
It's
it was a
yeah.
practical request, we just went every November and we said, you know what, next year, Dorothy Park needs a new playground, and then we would say, that's, like, we would do the research ahead of that, but then we'd say, okay, Dorothy Park's gonna be $40,000, we also want a new tennis court at Silver, and we'd go with our list, and here's the $90,000 we're gonna spend, that would go to council, get approved so that we could start ordering the equipment and stuff over the winter to get it in. The problem with that is there was no plan, so the city council was saying, well, how do we know what you actually want to do to Dorothy Park if we don't know what the full long-term, it's a reasonable request. The problem is, then they let go of a lot of the staff that probably would have worked on said plan, and so so ever since that staff has been let go, in my opinion, we have had nobody working. It's not, no, it's not, I won't say nobody working on it, but it's, Lisa can't do
You're
it
doing
all.
4 jobs.
She's doing 18 jobs,
Yeah.
like, so then they hired it out, so what's happened is now we're like year 2, almost 2 years it feels like.
Mhm.
And then they said, we don't want you spending, we don't want you building a playground, we don't want you fixing a shelter, we don't want you putting in a sidewalk.
But this
Until they have
wasn't
this plan.
long-term policy or anything, is what
No.
I'm getting at.
No,
This is
but
not
we-
long-term
It's
policy.
recent.
Basically, Sue, in a nutshell, we had to get our homework done before we could
Okay.
celebrate.
Yeah.
So it was a one-time thing, said, like they said.
But
Well,
we're all stuck
it's
because
like
none of
one-
us can do the homework, the city
Yeah.
has to do it, and
Right.
the city is understaffed, so they can't do it, so now as a commission.
So what do we
we're
need to do? Do we need to ask and say, hey, can we
Yeah.
start moving
Yep,
forward?
that's
Yes,
what we
and
need.
that's
Let's
what we
make
wanted
a
to do.
recommendation.
Let's do
So
that.
that's what we wanna do.
Right?
Based on the plan we already wrote that hasn't been fully approved, we want to use that as our, because we've all spoken nauseam about that, right? Like, we know
Yep.
what's on that 1, 3, 5-year plan. Let us start ticking off things on that list
For 2022.
for 2022, yeah.
The plan,
And
okay.
And the stop for why it's not done is, we need city help, right?
Yes,
The park plan or the spending?
The park plan.
park plan.
Well, and now it's been offloaded. It's WSB.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so now we're on their timeline.
What's our recommendation?
We ain't gonna wait for them. Let's ask to go forward,
I'd like to
right?
make a recommendation to go to council and
Yes.
ask to start budget spending for 2022
Working.
based on the plan that we've created that has not been approved yet.
Yes,
Second.
third, fourth, and fifth, go ahead.
Second?
I'll second it.
Sue seconds,
Didn't
discussion.
mean to vent, but I am
Nope,
starting to
nope.
feel
No, that's
a big
great.
frustration.
I'm
with
glad
that.
you
Yeah.
finally
Good.
said it. I've been feeling it for a long time.
Well, and
Any
I
more-
need
I
help.
used to love coming to this park meeting and now I
Yeah.
dread it.
Hi, in the
That's
interest of
honestly
time,
right.
any more discussion on the issue?
Nope.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, Ingrid? All opposed? All right, park cleanup, Silver Lake,
Great.
anybody?
It's on the article. We can read it.
Okay,
Great.
Casey Lake
update on Casey Lake,
Jim already provided that.
good on that. Anybody got reports they want to discuss?
I just need to announce that Star Watch for 2021 has been canceled. After talking to Mike, he just thought it was better for everyone involved.
Okay.
So, no Star Watch.
You wanted me to go over the budget?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
So,
Sorry, Laura.
go ahead.
Here's where all this came up. Tim asked me to just remind all of us that we used to have a budget going, and again, things got lost in the shuffle with COVID and so forth. So we're just kind of bringing it back around so we know what's going on with our budget every month. We can take a review. So I reached out to Lisa, who graciously got it back to me, and we're gonna just bring it to the,
So it is in a different format because we are on a new software system.
Yeah, so
and I handed it to Laura because I wasn't quite sure how to understand it and read it. And she
Laura's
did
got
perfect.
us.
And she's
Give
got
us
it.
the-
So
I'm
Laura, go
happy to
ahead.
share it with you
Cliff
too.
notes.
Basically, our park fund, balance is $413,014.69. Looks like we had some money come in, well, yeah, we've had, I'll show it to you, Nancy, because I don't know what these budget codes specifically mean. And then our park dedication fund is at $239,995.91.
Can you shoot it this way? I'll have Nancy take a look at it,
Yeah.
see if she's got any comments.
It says market value adjustment. I didn't know if it was,
Something to do with the city.
Yeah,
Nancy, any
it's
comments on
interesting
it?
somehow.
So
Yeah.
those are two separate pools of money, the 400 and the 200?
Yep, so if you'll remember, the park dedication fund is the money that we're getting from the ongoing building projects that are required to be paid to us for dedicated green space to accompany the incoming buildings.
Okay.
The park fund is the money that we've grown over time through building rentals and all of that.
And part of the Casey Lake, $69,000 a year, I believe it is.
65.
$65,000 a year comes out of the park fund.
So we get $100,000 a year currently from the city through multiple funds, taxes, legacy money, whatever. and then 65 goes to help pay for the Casey Lake building, and the rest we get to keep, to use to build improvements to our
Over and
parks.
above all the others.
And the dedication fund has specific requirements about how we can use it.
Yep, okay.
Has to be new, development,
No maintenance.
no maintenance,
Yeah.
no replacing existing, so you can't replace a playground with it, it has to be new.
For example, we can tear down Northwood Pavilion and start over, I believe.
Because you haven't heard it nauseum, what I say all the time, I think it needs to be for some type of downtown
Downtown,
space,
yeah. You, Lisa, we're gonna bring some more information to us, about how that park dedication fund can be used. I believe we talked about that last time.
I'll
If you
have
could put that-
Dan visit a meeting,
Sweet,
and he can explain the
idea for the
financials and
agenda.
that as well.
perfect.
Anything else? Going, adjournment motion.
I make a motion to adjourn?
Sarah motion second.
Second.
30 seconds, all in favor, say aye. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on. Did you want to say something about the budget?
No,
Good.
I would like a clarification on the, market value adjustment, exactly what that is.
Yeah, like, is it interest? 'Cause it's in it.
$1,000, could be, yeah. It's
Maybe.
not, like, a lot.
Sorry.
LGA, state LGA, we
Sorry.
did get 50,000. Yeah, market value adjustment.
And it's in both, which made me
Right.
think that maybe it's like a very small amount of interest.
Well, there's investment income, yeah.
Yeah, just maybe clarify, yeah.
I'll have Dan attend one of our meetings and review the
Yeah.
financials.
Okay, a motion by Sarah, second by Artie, all in favor of saying aye for adjournment.
Aye.
Ingrid?
Thank you.
Good night, everybody, have a great